Oh, darlings, just hit like, subscribe, and do the little notification thing. You need to know what's happening at all times. It's fantastic. One time I wasn't alerted, and my husband came home. It was quite unfortunate. Normally I'm alerted, like a life alert, but not this time. It was awful. It was just awful. So make sure you're notified so you can never miss a moment. Okay, toodaloo.
Hey guys, reality check exclusive here. I'm by myself because we had to film this in a couple parts, but Jessica and our surprise guest will be in the second half. Very excited. But I just wanted to run through some of the facts that are gonna pop up in this interview. And really, we just wanted to have as much time with our guest. We really appreciate him coming on, and we cannot wait for you to hear it. But I had to just give you the updates. I had to give you the back history of this all because it's kind of crazy and it's really intricate. So I'm really excited to dive in. So here we go. Eduardo Cordova. He is partial owner, was partial owner of The Garden. He's also partial owner of Queen's Bar and Karma Nightclub. Okay. So he's around town. He's around town. He's been around town for a while. Okay. And he has recently separated ties with The Garden. And it's kind of been a scandal. And let me tell you, the way we found out was wild. I had seen a post by Perez, and he was like, hey, a local nightclub in town is being accused of not paying their employees. What? Scandalous. Why? And then it goes into, he separated ties with The Garden. And he's also filing for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Now, hold up. So let's go from the beginning. So they separate ties with each other. And Eduardo claims that he separated ties with The Garden, that he was not let go or told to leave, that he left on his own accord. And he said that they were stealing wages and tips and being shady and being really just not good people. So he needed to separate ties. In doing so, The Garden then sues him, and that he's had to file Chapter 7 in illegal tactics. And they're just doing this to defame his character, and that the employee that was speaking badly about him was fired and was paid. This is just all a smear campaign. This is just a part of The Garden and this employee to get back at him when he's down. And I said, that sounds interesting. Not impossible, but interesting. And so then The Garden comes out and says, oh, no, that's incredibly incorrect. I don't know where he got this from. He must be in Delulu land because he was absolutely stealing employee wages, tips. He wasn't paying contractors. He wasn't paying entertainers. And it was just like the complete opposite. They're like, we don't need to do a smear campaign on him. If anything, he's filing Chapter 7, so he doesn't have to pay us. And so he can get out of paying those employees, so he doesn't have to pay them. So if anything, no, if this is not a smear campaign, it's just karma. I guess, I don't know. Jessica would make a Taylor Swift reference. That's all I'm saying. If Castillo then comes out with a video and says, hey, I do not associate with him in a personal standing, in a business standing. I want nothing to do with him. We are suing him for a reason. Everything that we, the reason why he's not a part of us anymore is because he is a shady business person. And she, quote, says he had unethical practices on his behalf. And she also said she actually apologized and said she apologized to whoever's been victimized by this individual, clearly implying Eduardo. I mean, she was like, no, I'm not doing this. It was very clean. You can tell it was approved by a lawyer, and so all this drama is happening, and I just want to get into, so what kind of makes sense, I'm not going to lie, The Garden statement actually makes more sense to me. So you have this guy, he's been stealing wages, he's going to get in a lot of trouble, and I don't have the money to pay, the guy doesn't have the money to pay it back. So what is he going to do? File Chapter 7 on himself. So all those bills go to collections. And his collections really, like, the garden ain't seeing that money. It's gone, baby. It's gone. So if anything, he's being shady. He is not paying it back. But why would he pay it back? And in the midst of all of this, he opens Queen's Bar. So, like, he goes, oh, you don't want me? Let me go over here. And I'm going to start a business over here. And he does. And let me tell you guys, it's a mess. You'll hear more about leaky roofs, employees not being trained, weird work environment, maybe a hint of racism. Just saying. Just saying, you're going to hear all about it in this next half. So, it's just, I was like, what? Excuse me? That was kind of interesting. I read a lot of comments, and a lot of comments had a lot of things to say about these people. And the interesting thing is that Cordova and the garden have separated ties, but everyone loves the garden. There was only one comment. There was one comment that said they didn't enjoy it because it was owned by a straight couple. I don't listen. I can't comment on that. I've never been. I don't know what the gay scene looks like in Vegas compared to other places. I just know what Vegas looks like. And so, I can't really make a comment on it, but I've also had mixed reviews on that as well. So, but yeah, the comments did not disappoint. It was really interesting to see how, as soon as the agenda changed, as soon as the garden came out with a statement officially, the comment section were filled with hate for Cordova and how he was not a good business partner for the last 10 years, that these are the tactics people had been seeing for years, and they were glad that karma caught up with him. They discussed their cocaine usage. He went into detail. I mean, the comments were just so wild. And there was a lot of harassing comments coming from, I'm assuming, a business partner, because somebody was replying to another person, and they were replying to a guy named Jason Damian. And I'm going to assume it was a business partner. I don't know. This is all alleged. I don't know. But Jason Damian was leaving comments calling this man ugly, commenting on his appearance, talking about sexual partners and his sexual escapades. He was also going over everything except for the facts. And that's what the commenter said. Like, how are you going to attack my appearance when I'm giving you my experience? And in that comment, the commenter that was being harassed said, stop your nonsense, poor operations, and taking advantage of people, period. So this is a person who's been like, no, you fucked me over before. I'm not doing this again, and you don't get to bully me this time. And I think it's kind of silly for a business person to go on a very high profile, this is Perez Hilton's Las Vegas page, very high profile socialite, to then harass, like, you're ugly. Like, come on now. You're a business owner. Get your shit together. Have some, like, I don't know, be sophisticated, my guy. But that's what happens when you get caught in lots of lies. So it's interesting. And one of the comments, oh my goodness, we're going to get into it. One of the comments said that Cordova had a lot of lube, poppers, and several 8-balls. And we do get into it a little bit in the interview, but it is funny because I was like, oh no. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens at the Queen's Bar. I mean, they opened and it was leaking. It sounds like it has really poor management. They don't know what they're doing. They thought they knew what they were doing, and turns out they don't. And it's, they can't keep hiring staff. They can't keep any good bartenders. They don't really have a requirement for how much experience you have. So it's just a messy ordeal. I think they also had idea they were going to have a high influx of people, and they don't. So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. But I do want to mention that Jessica and I's friend, Brittany, hey girl, she works at a gay club that is switching to a country bar. And they are switching because they've had a lot of issues, drugs, with just really gross things in the bathrooms, both bathrooms, like prostitution, a lot of really gross things. And they're trying to leave that market. And this goes with the comments that I had seen earlier about how they were really disappointed in the Vegas gay scene. And they thought that it was just really trashy and that other places had better experience. So if you guys have an opinion on that, please let us know. Like I said, I only know what's happening in Vegas. I have not experienced a lot of other places. So please tell me if Vegas has a silly, gay scene. I don't know. I can't comment on it. But it was interesting that Brittany tells Jessica that, yeah, our bar's changing because they just can't take the scene anymore. And then the Garden has their breakup, and Queen's Bar is having this clusterfuck. And it just seems like a lot of things are moving and pushing, and I don't know, Piranha and Gypsy just opened up again, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I don't know, but next is our interview, so stay tuned. So right now we have August Alexander right here.
Hi.
We don't even know what to do.
We're like,
how do we work the microphones?
What do we do? What do we
this?
do? Where's this?
We're so used to Tina's setup where we have a third microphone. This time we don't. So bear
I'm
with
loud,
us.
Though, so.
I feel like it's going to be okay, especially if I just hold it right here. We just be fine.
We'll get it.
We'll be fine.
But oh my goodness. So
there's a lot going on
there's
in
a lot
the
going on. So in the first part of the episode, we talked about what's been happening with Eduardo and the Garden and all this crazy stuff. And that, it's just, we really got into the details. We really got into the nitty gritty. We saw all the posts. It was a lot. And
there was a lot going on.
So now we're going to find out exactly what's going on with the lube, the poppers, and the several 8-balls. Okay.
What can you tell us about that? No,
Honestly, that was the comment that got me. I was
Was
like,
it?
I need a
What-
message
what-
just
what got me? No, what got it was funny because Perez Hilton just posting his shit or whatever, and I'm like, okay, it's Perez Hilton. He's just gonna talk his shit because that's who he is. But then this motherfucker posted screenshots of text messages. And I was like, that's what caught me.
yours?
Yeah, those were-
Those are yours! Oh.
I guess let's just jump into
Let's
it.
jump into
Yeah,
it.
let's get into it. Okay.
So, how did you get hired at where
You
did
were at the
work?
Garden, right?
No, I was at Queen.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
okay. So a little thing.
This makes it
Eduardo
so
owns
much
I
juicier.
got you. I got you. I got
Eduardo?
you.
Okay,
I
Queen.
love-
Okay, but so the Queen, that was the place that was set to open, and then we had a big flood, and then
And they still opened, and it leaked on everyone at the grand opening. It was awful.
so they did open on time.
Why, because why not?
Oh my god!
Nobody checked the roof. It was leaking everywhere.
What did people do?
Do you remember that
Get
happened?
dripped on. What do you mean?
Do you remember when that happened? Do you remember? Do you remember when they were? Hold on. Do you remember when that happened at Alexis Park?
Yes, I do. Okay, so
Oh,
how did you?
shit.
Okay, how did you hear about the job? How did you get hired?
I wanted to work at the Garden, and I
Uh-huh.
guess through mutual friends, I found out that I guess there was a dispute going on between Eduardo and the owners of partners, owners, whatever. I
So
don't
that was going on while you were getting hired at the Queen.
right. The legal issue, the legal part, I don't really know much about, and I just know there was words like embezzling and things like that. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll wait a little bit. And
It's a Vegas story
And then a
for sure.
friend was like, hey, they're hiring at Queen. I wanted a little bit of normalcy. I do adult entertaining
Mhm.
primarily. So I was like, okay, cool. I want to stay home and work more here. So let me get a job. I applied. Got a second interview, which I thought was funny because nepotism. But got a second interview and immediately got called back. No questions, no resume was given. I just interviewed. It was funny because I'm interviewing Diego and Eduardo. I was like, oh, we're really doing this? We're doing this, an interview. Okay, cool. So the next day, obviously, I got hired. I get brought on.
Wait, I think I interviewed with Diego.
Older Hispanic cunt. Sorry.
It's okay.
Wait,
Where-
no, you're fine.
I'm trying to think who I interviewed with because I interviewed at the Garden.
Yeah.
I think I interviewed with Diego, actually.
Older
now that I think
male.
about it. Yeah.
Leathery skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
He stayed with his son too long.
No, but I did speak with. Okay, we'll get into that.
We'll get into it. But yeah, so got hired. No previous work in nightlife. I'm a quick study, but like I said, like when you're working what you think will be a high volume establishment, you want people there who can bartend and people who can do the tasks. That was not me. I'll tell you that. And we also got no training.
They just threw you in?
So we got hired 2 weeks before opening.
This is gonna be
And
great.
we're learning menus, we're like bar setup, but we're not learning anything. Like they're teaching us POS. That's all we learned, POS.
What was your POS system?
Toast.
Oh, Toast is easy though.
Toast
I
is
use
very
that
easy.
above my
Toast is
jobs.
very easy. But like we didn't get like hands-on training. Like we weren't sent out with order. Like we weren't doing training,
Right.
especially for people who had no previous experience.
Right.
The bar manager that they had quit because they kept dumping responsibilities on him and not upping his pay.
Oh.
So he left.
It sounds like a place I currently work at.
Yeah, so he left. Established bartenders who came in also quit within like the first 2 weeks.
Because they saw it was nonsense.
And it just, I mean, like, have you been? So we lost at least 15 people first round. So of course Instagram goes up, another hiring fair. Oh, let's hire more people. Cycled more out. They've had 4 hiring fairs since they've opened, which is insane.
When did they open?
Red flag.
I want to say they opened
It was like
whenever the flood was.
whenever we had that massive
Labor Day
flood,
Memorial Day, one of those.
and it was
like
over.
Labor Day.
It was.
One of those.
This is where it's February, right?
Yeah.
So I want to say it was like November.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Now, as somebody who's been on the ground and like worked there, I would have been like, hey, I know that you want to like stick it to your people at the garden and show them you can do it and, walk away with all the money and still
So this was
succeed.
Edward Cordova's baby.
Correct. Being on the ground, I would have said, girl, just open on New Year's. There was no way that you were ready. Training-wise, establishment-wise, repair-wise, there was no way you were ready to open that early. Hence, grand opening. You're getting obviously rained.
Yeah.
Well, you would have like it was a soft opening. It should have been like a soft opening.
We did a soft opening.
Then
That was
okay,
the
but that
there was
should
a
have
soft
been the
opening
soft opening, and
and
then
the
the
grand
grand opening should have been like New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Kind of like so.
Well, greedy.
Red soft opening was last month, and then their grand opening is in April.
Well, greedy people.
Yeah, well, that seems to be the thing going around
Also,
right
when you
now.
have no income coming in, you have to make revenue. So you can't afford to wait.
What were the vibes of the place? Like, what were
Can't relate.
what were the vibes of the place? So you get hired, you get there. Was it like everyone had no idea what they were doing? Like, what?
A
Was
lot
the
of
vibe?
people. A lot of people did come from like backgrounds of like bar hospitality. So I mean, some people didn't know what they were doing. Others were just like thrown to the wolves. Like we don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I was hired as a server. No, a server assistant, whatever the hell that is. I have no clue what that is.
You know what a server assistant does?
No clue.
No.
A server,
think
I
it's
know.
so
I can tell you. I
Okay,
can tell you what a server assistant busses tables, and then also like our bussers at Vic's, they're bussers. They're not server assistants. They're bussers. But however, they do walk around and refill waters. Like they
Okay.
walk around with water pitchers and refill waters.
Did you have a water pitcher?
Well, I wouldn't know because the next day I was moved to barback.
Oh.
Again, with no experience behind the bar. Do you love it? You're loving it. With no experience behind the bar.
Just because all the experience behind
Because-
the
I
bar.
have all the experience.
It's like,
I mean, I never barbacked before in my life, but we don't have barbacks at
Yeah. A lot
either
of
one of
people-
my jobs,
and
so
I've heard
I have to do it.
A
So
lot
I
of
get
people
it.
don't have barbacks.
There's no reason for it anymore.
But yeah, because
We can do it ourselves.
literally.
And yeah.
So there's so many people like now on board. Like
Uh-huh.
also where like he's stealing nights throughout the club, like Thanos gyms. Like he just acquired the underwear night from Charlie's because Charlie's went under. So now he's doing an
That's
underwear
right.
night on Saturday night.
Charlie's one. Oh yeah, it did.
Yeah,
Huh.
they're moving locations
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
allegedly. But
Yeah, that's what I said.
allegedly. But Eduardo was like, "Oof, you know what sounds great? Let's do an underwear night." Like, girl, like have some kind of decorum, girl. Like they just like, come on, girl. Like you know what
So
I mean? Like that's very like.
He's just taking the idea, seeing what works, because
Like,
he's
if you
desperate.
Go to the Queen. It is literally a copy and paste mold of the garden. Like it is from menu to like themes. It's nothing original. And
So the garden's kind of okay. So what I remember from the garden, because I only went during my interview,
yeah,
but so like our bar at Vic's is like massive. However, there's no like, it's not big enough to have like tables around the bar. So to me, I was telling Callie earlier, like, if you cut the bar in half at Vic's and then put tables around it, that's basically how big the garden is. It's not very big.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know what I expected.
It's very. I would
had a lot going on in my head
I
from
always see. I always see my friends posts about every time she goes to like the drag brunches and like
I will say,
gets
like,
the big giant mimosas and shit or whatever. Like
post Eduardo at the garden, like the vibe is a lot lighter.
Okay.
I feel.
I know what that's like.
And it just seems light. Like I've had so much more fun going back without like that. And also Diego's like the worst. No, he is like that's one of the reasons why I quit. And a lot of like the blogs are like, oh, like disgruntled. Like I have. We'll get into that, but I have text messages showing, oh, you were such a great employee. Like, oh, like you were so great.
Oh, so you're the disgruntled employee.
Allegedly. But I also quit. So you.
So you weren't fired like
No.
I had reported earlier.
No, was not fired.
Huh.
I walked out of my shift 30 minutes in.
So you were the T emoji.
Maybe.
Oh, maybe. I mean, you were hopefully maybe the T emoji. Allegedly.
Yes. Allegedly.
Allegedly. We got to really use that
Yes,
word
you
today.
have to.
We got to really use that word
But no, I
today.
quit.
When we were talking about the Free Britney movement, every other word was allegedly.
I decided to quit like maybe 15 minutes of my shift. Right. You know it's bad when you don't finish getting your money for the day and just dip out.
Yeah.
Like Uber on the way. Like, Diego, who you interviewed with, I guess.
Yeah.
Diego is very.
I was supposed to interview with Eduardo,
He's
and
very
he kept sending me to Diego,
he's
and
very sharp and just very C slur, and at first he's like, oh, like he's very cool, like at first, and then I started noticing very like condescending remarks, and I'm like, well, girl, you didn't train me. Like he's like, how hard is it to cut limes? Like, bitch, I am a porn star. I'm not a bartender. Like, girl, like, I don't know how to cut limes, girl.
And you
like,
didn't hire me to do that.
it's
like-
so weird because I kind of got that vibe when I was interviewing.
Yeah. Like, why are you even here? It just he just gives off that energy. It's like, ugh, like, and at first it's like obviously like you want to like work and make money, so like you, but the condescending remarks has got worse and worse and worse. And like I Postmates everything, I air fry everything. I don't know how to cut fruit. Like, who's cutting fruit in their day-to-day life? Raise your hand. Show a hand. Okay, well, I mean,
you're a bartender.
Okay, but you're a bartender.
Well, and it doesn't make sense for me because I have a toddler, but yeah.
But it's like, either give me the training to do this task,
Yes.
and sending you to show me how is not training.
Yeah.
Well, did they not even have like a fruit cutter? Like, because even if you don't know how to
We
cut
didn't get
fruit,
that
you
in
just
3 weeks into
Boom.
3 weeks into opening. We got the fruit cutters. We were still getting Amazon packages well into open. Like, please.
Not the Amazon packages.
Keep it,
Not the Amazon packages.
Grand opening night. I don't know, like, for clarity and for context, you guys won't be able to see it, but I'm going to show Callie and, you see the scar?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So opening night, it's dark. It's, soft launch. We're doing things. I'm in the back cutting fruit. No training. I sliced my thumb.
It's pretty big.
Put a glove.
It's pretty big. It's long.
I put a glove on it and like
I call them finger condoms.
put gauze on, and I'm like bleeding through the sorry.
That's a different story. I'm sorry. It's a different story.
The glove, and I go to Leilani, who is the assistant manager.
Mhm.
I'm like, hey girl, like, do you have a first aid kit? So
I might be dying.
I do you have a first aid kit. And she's like, oh, I can look around for a Band-Aid. 20 minutes later.
You can look around, like, okay, so both my jobs, like, at Vic's, in the manager's office, there's a big, giant, like, first aid kit. And then at Jimmy Kimmel's, like, there's an even bigger first aid kit, but then we also have lockers, right? That have even more backup shit in case we need
20
it.
minutes later go by, and I was like, okay, girl, she's like, oh, we don't have any here, but you can go and check the hotel that they shared a space with. So I go and put a Band-Aid on. I'm still bleeding because
There's like red flags, like all up in this.
And I'm like, oh, like, is it cool if I get off the floor and like treat this? She's like, you need to hurry up and make that stop bleeding and get back to work.
Oh.
I'm walking at that point.
I'm walking.
And that's why he did.
No, the condescending remarks and this the racial microaggressions from Diego is why I quit.
Well,
She's
so
really getting into it.
well, I was gonna say like
Because if you and Callie are working together, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, she's your cousin, girl,
You can't be
Like-
like all black people look the same.
and it gave very that from Diego,
You can't say
And
that.
I am from Baltimore, Maryland. I don't know if you're familiar, and
I'm not.
I also
she
have a
is.
thriving job outside of Eduardo's business.
Yeah.
I like to tussle. And for my own mental health, I was like, let me stay out of this situation. Let me alleviate myself from here because I will go to jail.
so
Like literally, I'm
Exactly.
picturing him at either one of my jobs right now,
Like,
but I'm also
totally.
remembering what it was like to work at Pompous, and it's like all of these
Same.
things. Like I'm like, oh God, I would never. How? Like,
Well, what happens with okay, so you get there. So now you see the allegations of that he was stealing wages, employee wages, contractor wages,
Well,
tips.
I mean, you guys saw my post about the W-2 forms that were
Yes.
missing. My tips were missing.
okay, so that was my question because I was
First, we thought
like,
you were a performer at.
No, we get into that too. I know a lot of girls
Because-
who still haven't been paid as performers.
So, because that's why,
because I was like, are you W-9 or W-2?
Yeah.
So okay, so your W-2s, you haven't gotten them for this year, or you haven't gotten them from last year?
From working there. So I
So I guess
quit.
last year.
So last year.
Okay, because I was like, W-2s just kind of went out like a week ago, like maybe-ish.
Well, from what I heard from coworkers who are still there, they went out apparently a month ago.
Yes.
I didn't get an email. I didn't get a phone call.
There's no way to get to you.
Quitting employee, like an employee that leaves or not, it is your responsibility as an employer.
I
to
still
give
got
me my
one from
shit.
Pompous. I was there for
Yeah,
2
like, to
weeks
give
and I
me
got one.
To give me my things. That is your job.
Yeah.
I reached out via. I think I showed you guys reached out via email.
Actually, I'm going to tell you this. And since you guys use Toast, you have to log into your Toast, and I bet you anything it's there.
Yeah.
But
They cut me
but
from
here's the
Toast.
thing is,
But
Here's-
they cut
but-
him from Toast.
Oh, they took.
oh,
they,
so but they still have, so they have to send it to you.
I'm getting in
Okay.
my Uber. They have removed me from the WhatsApp chats. They have. I mean, which I get. I'm not there
Yeah.
anymore. But I mean, it was from the time I got in my Uber. I was getting notifications. You've been removed. You've been removed. I'm like, girl, let me get home first. Let me get home first.
So, okay, so what happened? So what's going on? Okay, I'm sorry. We got to get into the lube, the poppers, and the 8 balls.
It's like the nitty gritty of it all.
I don't. Okay.
Because what
I feel like it's a
we've-
gay club, so there's lots of cocaine.
that's just
and there's also
I'm-
allegations that they were selling it out from behind the bar.
To that, I honestly don't know. I don't know. I can say that me and Eduardo share a coke dealer, and that I have done cocaine with
Oh.
Eduardo. So
Hey.
so there is coke.
So wait,
there's-
is Edith also on coke too from the garden?
I wouldn't. I'm like,
I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. I've been around Edith enough to know it doesn't give me. I'm sure you've seen Eduardo before.
yeah.
There's coke, and they're just erratic energy. I feel like Edith is erratic, and she's running a business, but it's not giving coke. not giving
Erratic and running a business. I know somebody like that,
It's not giving coke to
and
me,
she's
though.
not on coke.
Yeah, right. It's not giving coke
No.
to me. It's not giving coke to me.
Okay, because that was a couple of the comments also on her post because she came out was
Well,
like, "Hey,
did you see who posted it? It's
Perez
giving
posted.
troll. No, it was somebody else under Perez.
I mean, but not somebody
Oh.
but people
I
like
saw it
to
on
poke
Perez.
the bear. It's so annoying. Oh,
But I
God,
mean, okay.
internet. The internet was just interneting, but
Literally.
but it's
Literally.
oh God damn, Perez. Oh, that Perez.
So are you surprised by the allegations? And then do you still talk
Fuck
to
no.
any of
Fuck
do you
no.
talk to any of the employees now that are not getting paid?
I still am in contact with about 3 employees. 2 of which, like I said, have not been paid. I showed you, and I can send you the screenshots I showed you earlier
Yeah.
of one in particular who didn't know she was fired or let go. You know how they do? They cut your hours down and then let you figure it out that you're they wouldn't let you go. So she looked for other
Jessica's
work.
like, no.
So then she looked for other work, but Diego was telling people, oh, I think she quit or got another job. When in reality, they cut her hours so much where it's man, I'm gonna go find more work. If you don't want me here, fine. But they were lying and saying that she
I've
quit.
seen. It's never happened to me.
But you've seen it.
But I've seen it.
Yeah.
Have I been let go from jobs before? Yes.
But
But have
still
I
hasn't gotten
seen
her
that
last
kind of-
paycheck, which is wild to me because I would have burnt that baby. Listen,
Well, he filed a
I'm not
chapter
leaving without
7.
it.
Well, he filed a chapter 7 and now it's going to collections. Well, this is where it's confusing.
So what's
because
what's happening with Queen though?
Well, that's where I don't know, because another thing I saw online was that he claims he owns all these businesses, but really he's a very small partial
Very
owner.
small. Very small.
So really, he's going bankrupt. His LLCs are.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm confused on.
The bankruptcy is a ploy is a maneuver for the lawsuit with the people from
could he
Queens,
go to
from the
jail
garden.
for this?
Oh, so he doesn't
So
have
he
to
was
pay
stealing money,
them.
right? So he was stealing money from the
Gotcha.
garden and their
Okay.
people, and in order to like get out of that, like non-payment, it's like, oh, look, I'm poor.
I'm
So,
poor and I
to
can't
avoid,
pay you back.
so
Gotcha.
like
You
to
get it.
avoid
Gotcha.
jail.
And honestly, he could file his bankruptcy in 5 years. He can buy
Okay,
a house again.
But I mean,
So-
you can put your business. He can put his business in with Diego or Leilani. There's so many ways. Like,
Well, also he has an LLC which doesn't look at you, so
Yeah.
you can still get all your monies and all that
Yeah.
other stuff. Okay, that makes sense. I figured it out.
Okay, so I have a question. So okay, I'm gonna. Should I tell this story
tell it.
Sure.
about what happened last week? About the amount of money that was stolen.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
you know what I'm. No, you know what I'm talking about. It was a lot. It was almost 20.
Yeah. Sorry. It took me
Okay.
a minute. That's why I was agreeing.
So
with
at one of my jobs, one of the servers stole in cash like 10 grand, and then on credit card at least another 6.
In Vegas?
Yes. So,
you. Uh-oh.
Great.
but like this is, but so
Right.
this dude. But this is how we did it. This might give away which job, but the way that he did it was, for some reason, everybody had the ability to comp, aside from bartenders. Gaming bartenders need, gaming bartenders,
You're done.
because yeah,
You're done. Let's
because
shot.
gaming.
You're
Wait,
done.
where's your drink?
You're done.
Fucking gaming bartenders.
More tequila.
Yeah,
Tequila.
just do the whole bottle. It's fine. Just take,
now they know.
because one of my jobs is gaming and the other one's not, so they're gonna know. But like, it's fine. My job is very supportive. Both of them
Yeah.
are, and Callie and I are actually gonna get to do our podcast from both places.
Yeah.
So,
No. So one of our servers at one of my jobs. Wait, that's not mine. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Cheers.
Jesus.
Cheers.
We haven't been drinking at all, guys.
Okay, this is what he did. So I work. One of my jobs is a jazz club, and it's a fine dining Italian restaurant. But we also have the Las Vegas Academy Jazz Band, like jazz students. They're all 16, 17 years old. And no, God, I wish I was at Mayfair. Fuck. No, but it's over in the Arts District. So anyway, one of the servers said, like, he basically comped a glass of wine to the band. This is how he got caught.
Idiot.
Comped a glass of wine to the band tab, and the band they're 16.
Idiot.
And like,
Rookie mistake.
that's what I said. So then
You had one job.
my floor supervisor was like, and he had my floor supervisor texted my lead server and was like, I think I just Rain Manned one of the servers. Like, it was a complete accident that he was caught, right? So then they had our operations manager and our head of security go through all the paperwork and realized, oh my God, he comped 10 grand worth of cash. Like, he was able to hide it, like 10 grand. Then the other thing that he did, because it was Toast, and here's the flaw with Toast, those handhelds, he was able to
Baby.
so you can go back and change, like when you update somebody's credit card payment, okay, you can comp something off and then add it to your tip and make sure it's the same amount that was charged to the card.
That's kind of
So to the customer, they're paying, they charge the same,
Yeah.
but
To the
you're
bar,
really, but to the bar, you're really stealing more money.
Damn,
right?
that's a move. That's a move.
And then on the day that we had the meeting, the day, like, they pulled us all into the main dining room. There's a full on window. So there's like 10 people at the bar. We're all having a server meeting. All of our guests can see that we're getting, like, it's like the sky is falling. And so, but this day, this server shows up to work his shift.
He came back?
But this is before, but this was like literally like, they let him go and then we had this meeting.
But he came back.
Yo, he came back to this one.
Please.
This was over the course of 8 months.
$15,000, I'm out.
Over the course of eight months.
I'm out.
It gets so much worse. It gets so much worse.
Baby, we're done.
It gets so much worse. Hold on.
I've already been gone. I've been gone.
He showed. Oh no, because I told him. No, dude. This man showed up to work the day he got fired. Yeah, no, he showed up in his uniform, but he also showed up with a brand new car that he bought.
Jesus fucking Christ.
That happened to my husband's old job.
So, but like, oh yes, but that.
Yeah.
So, but I'm like, so they're pressing charges. Metro was involved in all that
Of
stuff.
course.
But like, can he?
Idiot.
So,
Why not?
so like, can he file? Like, my question is, can he file to get out of it? Like, file
So,
for Chapter
it
7
depends.
to get out of it, or
I feel
is
like
that just a full-on
It
felony?
I feel
depends
like
on
at
how
this
much you
point,
make.
I feel like at this point though, like that's fraud. That's
Yeah, it gets.
like there's so many like that's fraud.
Okay,
So,
but like, but anyway,
basically-
Edward Cordova is like stealing, but he's like stealing.
So pretty
tips.
much it depends. So you can't file bankruptcy if your debt to income ratio.
Yeah,
if
it
you
has,
can
to, be,
pay
it
it
has to be a
off.
different. The amount has to be greater than like
Yeah,
$16,000. Like if they can prove, employees can prove, hey, like I haven't been, you know what I mean, like paid this amount, and it adds up to that. Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
So it depends if they can file for bankruptcy, but yes, they technically could. That's why they're probably not going to see that money. But
Yeah, which sucks.
the state is also going to make him pay, but he's not going to be able to pay that. He's also going to have to file for bankruptcy for that. So there's
So is he gonna go to jail?
probably.
Probably.
Okay, but like
He's gonna
that's
get in
my
trouble.
question.
That's
Is
it,
like,
though.
is that the same fate that like Eduardo could be facing?
Yes. Well, he filed, so he
Because
doesn't have
that's
to pay
fraud.
people.
If he's like stealing tips and wages and shit,
Yeah.
like that's fraud.
Well, that's why this lawsuit is interesting, and it's interesting that you joined in the middle of all of this.
Yeah.
So so did you join on right when they separate, like they split ties?
But also, like, what made you decide that you were like, you know what, I'm gonna go work for this person?
I had heard rumors, but like I hadn't been directly affected by it. So
Okay.
okay, like girl talk. It is what it like, especially gays, like rumors. But I hadn't been.
But also, Vegas is a very small
right.
town. We
I
tell
also
everybody
hadn't
everything.
seen it on my own, so I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'll take it for face value, like whatever. But like being in the thick of it and seeing it, it's like, oh no, the rumors are true. The allegations are true.
Hey, that happened at a certain location you
And
used to work for
I've
too.
never seen a smile on your face, just like wicked person like this before.
Interesting. So, like, do you think he opened Queen?
I think Queen opening was just
A crime.
I mean,
He
yeah.
could like
Money
probably
laundering.
embezzle and launch. Yes,
Have
that's
a
what I
secret.
thought.
But I mean, also it would like, but like, yes to that, but also like, so you get caught stealing from one establishment, your first thought is like, oof, let me open another one. It's just like, to what? To prove to people like I'm a business owner in
Okay, but
Vegas,
that's
right?
like
That would be
Jeremy
great.
stealing 17 grand and
Yeah.
buying a new car and
That
thinking
would
it's
be great.
okay.
That
Like,
would be great if you weren't caught stealing, idiot. Like,
Well, I guess what I'm kind of confused about is like, well, I guess it's just the move to then move. Okay, so I have a question. Do you know a Jason Damien?
no, I don't think so.
Okay, only because in the comments, someone was saying, Mr. Eddie Boy used to do this all the time. Like,
Yeah.
this is a 10-year thing. And then someone commented a lot of awful things, apparently, and then deleted them. But in the context of this guy replying was to this guy named Jason Damien.
Mhm.
And he was like, you're just his business partner. You're just whatever. I can tell you exactly what he said. I forgot what he said.
You write notes.
oh, dude,
do.
I
yeah.
love this.
She has notes because
oh, where did it go?
normally we just like write stuff down on like what we're gonna talk.
Oh yeah, it says stop your nonsense, poor operations, and taking advantage of people. Period. And after it was like, stop telling me I'm gay and like a whore,
But yeah,
and stop
like,
telling me
it-
I'm ugly. Like so, and it seemed like his business partner was attacking people on social media as well with Perez.
I mean that doesn't like online antics. That doesn't.
The internet is
surprise me.
internet.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Like that doesn't surprise me.
Like, do you think it would be in his like management team to do that?
Absolutely. I mean, you've got Diego. Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, Diego's already saying like, oh, you don't look the same, which is
well,
weird.
yeah.
That's weird.
I've just never been in a situation where like it's just like blatant, like
Yeah, that's some old school
wild,
shit.
wild,
That's some old
wild,
school shit. I'm
wild.
sorry. Like,
This is all like blowing my mind
Yeah.
as an actual real bartender.
Oh, let's
Like-
talk doxing.
oh yeah.
Yes.
How? Okay, so he brought up doxing.
I brought up doxing.
What happened? How did it happen?
You guys know
Who-
the show. Anything goes.
Yeah, right.
We don't give a fuck.
Prior to
Allegedly.
the Queen,
Allegedly.
prior to the Queen merger, and I'll show you screenshots. So prior to the Queen, the garden, Eduardo leaving the garden and going to Queen, when he was still there, he was going to start hosting a Vogue night.
Okay.
For like ballroom thing, like Vogue night, and the host was to be Tamisha Iman,
Okay.
which is a drag performer from RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh, okay.
Me being a POC, I was like, hey, like, I'd like to get in on that. Just, you know what I mean? That's like being, you kind of need one.
I'm starting to put some things together, like two and two.
Right.
Like there's a thing that like there was like a drag. There was a thing happening at the Queen, but I think now it's at Composer's Room.
So, right. So, me being a POC, I was like, okay, cool. Like, I'd like to get on this. It'd probably be better to have like someone like me hosted versus like someone who's not, because it's Vogue.
Right,
It'll be
yeah.
better received.
Yeah.
Cool. So, in a coked out, drug state, Eduardo sends me Tamisha Iman's number, which could have been okay, but Tamisha Iman is someone from RuPaul's Drag Race.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're at that level of excess, it's like, you don't want your bitch like that. Like, bitch, like, don't put my number out there like that. Like,
Yeah.
From stalker, even adult entertainers like that, like stalkers and all kinds. Like, that opens so many doors.
What if we just called Taylor up? Can't fucking do that. You can, like
Like,
nobody has her
like,
number.
what are
Nobody
you
has
doing?
Brittany's number.
Like,
Nobody
what are you
has.
doing? What are you
Yeah.
doing? So he sends me her number, and then I text the number thinking, oh, this person's not just going to give me someone's random number.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been cleared.
It's like a publicist or whatever.
So I text Tamisha. I'm like, hey, girl, like, heard we're doing a thing together. Like, woody woo. And Tamisha, I love you, Tamisha. Tamisha didn't reply to me. Absolutely not.
I bet not.
Went to a few mutual friends. It was like, so how did this dummy get my number? Like, what the fuck is going on? Whole thing, I'll show you the screenshots. Whole thing blew up. And one of my close friends was like, yo, so like, she's hot. Like, how did you get her number? I'm like, oh, Eduardo gave it to me. And like, I almost lost a good friend of mine just because like, he couldn't conceive the fact that he would dox this person. And I sent the screenshot. I was like, no. At this time last night, like Eduardo,
The guy didn't believe you,
Yeah.
and
which I get, like that. No shade to this person, but like, it's unbelievable. Like, right? Like, if someone's like, oh, I got Taylor's
I
number
don't
from...
when somebody like I always have this rule where I don't accept people's numbers unless they are
Right.
given to me personally.
yeah,
Like, oh yeah. Oh, like
I'm
here,
like,
call
cool.
this person. Here's this person's number. Like Sam.
the whole thing. Like,
Sam
the person-
gave me Eduardo's number, and was like, "Hey, like but he's like, I've already talked to him. He
Yeah.
knows you're coming.
None of that.
That's
happened.
fine.
None of that
but
happened.
like,
None of that happened.
I don't do third party text messages or third party
Yeah.
like, hey, so and
None
so
of
give
that
me your
was the
number
case
without my
here.
knowledge. Like, I know
That's
if you give
terrifying.
me, and I won't text people that don't.
She was
especially
terrified.
well, especially as like
You
somebody
could be a
who's-
stalker. Like, you
Exactly.
don't know.
I mean, I'm sorry. How easy for you is it to be like, I'm going to start working in a gay club. Eventually, she's going to come to my club, you know, or the group, or someone I
Yeah.
know. I can become close with them, and I can get closer to them. So it's like the fact that you just like, what if you were trying to get after one of her friends?
Right.
What if you were trying to get after like just dirty details
Yeah.
and like try to be a scummy person? And that's awful for you
Yeah.
because now you look like an asshole and you're just doing your fucking job.
Literally.
I'd be so
And the
pissed.
whole thing blew up. Like, she wouldn't perform for a little bit. She was like,
Oh.
girl, like, what is this? What you're doing? Like, what the hell? Like,
So it kind of sounds like this guy came in, was co-owners to the garden, and from the comments, I know.
the owners pushed him out
Yes.
Yeah.
because when you're an owner of something, you can't be pushed out.
No, but he was
Right.
probably on the board,
Right.
or
Right.
like
Or
he
from
owned
a
a
very small
Very
portion,
bad.
or
so
like
he
GM.
could get pushed
He
out.
was like GM
But
or
the
like
way that he's presenting it, like, oh, like I own, 85% of the factory. It's like you don't. You own maybe like 25, which is why you're being pushed out.
so they just bought him out of his. But if he was stealing, how do you buy? But you can't buy somebody out who's been stealing
out,
money.
fired.
Well, I think there's a level of you can push somebody out without having to pay them.
That's business
Because when
world.
you're stealing,
Yeah,
like,
And I
when-
only
yeah.
know that from Real Housewives of Potomac.
Erica
Because
Jane.
no, I was that's Beverly Hills.
Please delete that. Oh, I love you, Erica. Oh God.
We're the same.
Oh God.
But Potomac, what is her name? Oh, Mia. Mia's husband owned the
Okay.
joint and like all the chiropractics. And then one day his business partners were like, no, never mind, and kicked him out. That was it. So he didn't own that much.
Okay.
I mean, if you own a larger stake, then things are.
You have more
you
say.
don't. But if you don't,
But I
own
think
that,
that-
Just say, yeah.
Well,
then
that's
it's
why I'm
easier to
gonna-
push you out. And that's when lawyers are involved, and when you're like
Well-
when you could buy them out. But if you can prove fraud, then you don't have to buy them out. You just sue them.
Well, I don't know how that works, but I will say I have a question about Oop, it was there.
Because I know how my owners would like.
Open if you want.
I know how my owners would deal with that. At least my VIX ones.
To this point, I just want to say,
Mhm.
I haven't had any issues as far as like the owners being straight.
Okay, so yeah, we did bring that up. So it was
Okay.
I saw a couple comments about saying like they really hated the gay community.
But that's
that we
not true
have in
because I didn't get
Vegas.
hired.
Not the vibe
Because
that I got from.
because they were just tired of like they just feel like there's a lack of a scene here and a supportive scene. It feels like it's
Yeah.
very toxic. But what they were saying was like, oh, you have straight people owning a gay bar. That's not part of the whatever. And
I mean,
I used to say people are straight though.
well, that's what
very
I
one sided.
mean.
That's very like you know what I mean. That's a very
I
deaded
feel
argument.
like-
You know my
That's just because you're-
sexuality.
yeah, like
I feel like
that.
but I feel like that could be also like that's when you're when you're exploiting like a niche or whatever. Like
Gay
I
protect.
feel
you're
like-
yeah. Like
Well, I feel like I can understand where they're coming from, but it's also like, well, don't you also want some of the straights to come in and support you? I don't know.
I don't think you should factor in.
I think that
think, yeah.
when it comes to
You
like
do your job. Who cares?
see, okay, but that was okay. So and that was where it comes into where I interviewed to work at the Garden, and honestly, like I had never been there, but I'd seen all the videos, and I really wanted to. I like in
We
my
all did.
in my
We
heart
all did.
wanted
We all
to
did.
wanted to work at the
So you sold your
Garden.
soul to the devil.
It's such
all
an
did.
iconic bar, and I was like, bro, I could totally rock this shit, right? So I went in with like this resume, like I wrote cocktail menus. I'm like big into like if it's, like I literally play mad scientist
Yeah.
all the time to write menus for both of my current jobs,
Yeah.
right? Like it's a whole thing for me. That's my world. I'm very passionate about it. I want to do this, and I had all like my resume was stacked. And then they were like, okay, and then we're going to call you to come back to do like an audition to basically work with the bartenders and train or whatever, and we'll see how you work. Except I never got that phone call. And so then I got hired at VIX.
When did you apply?
It was
A
like,
year ago.
it was a year ago because
Probably like a year and 4
little
months.
after, no, not even, because VIX was, VIX opened February 10th. I interviewed for VIX in
They might have
January.
already been starting through their thing already with the settlements and stuff.
I was about to say.
So it was like
interviewed with what's his face.
I think I interviewed with Diego, but I talked to Eduardo.
They were probably already starting to slide into like that, like find the findings out of like the. Like,
So they probably didn't want his
they were
his
bringing anybody.
recommendation.
Yeah, they were bringing, even when I got hired at Queen, everyone was like, "Oh my god, he's a spy for the Garden! Oh my god, he's a spy for the Garden!" And honestly, bitch, I just wanted to work. Like I didn't care about the logistics until it affected me.
Yeah.
I didn't care about anybody, like anything from the Garden to Queen, like Eduardo to whoever. Like I didn't care until it directly affected my pockets. Baby, then I had a problem.
Yeah, I just wanted to go work at an iconic bar,
That's it.
and I knew that I could put.
I'm not disgruntled. I'm not angry. I'm just like I would like my things,
And
I
I
would like to
came-
be treated fairly.
I
That is
also
it.
came highly recommended.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting. Like, it seems like this guy just opened up his own place that I can do it too.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
Yeah,
Except it didn't.
It is a pissing contest.
Yeah.
That is it. That is like Eduardo was a child. It is a pissing contest. Like, oh well, I got pushed out of this place, so let me open up this place, and that's what, like great opening.
And you were so
Legal
sweet
ones,
to
like-
give him the
like-
benefit of. You were so sweet
Well,
to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Tried, but no. Like,
well,
like,
also like the leak going. Like, if I was like dancing,
everybody else cannot be the common denominator. Babe, it's you.
Yeah,
Babe, it's
repeatedly.
you.
Well,
when three people at a bar tell you you're drunk.
you're drunk,
You're drunk.
baby.
You know?
Babes, go home.
So, do we know if the queen is open? Queen is open.
Is Queen still open?
Queen's open. Queen is open and collecting business and hopefully.
Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, so I saw one of our friends posting that he was doing some like a drag show or whatever. I think I saw him doing something that had to do with it. And I thought, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And like, good for, you guys do your thing. That's fine. But then he texts me and he goes, hey, can you come see me at Composer's Room on Sunday mornings? We're doing a drag brunch at Composer's Room. And I'm like, dude, I'm literally at Vic's on Sunday mornings. Like, I double back. I get off work at 1 a.m. or 12:30, and then I have to be back at 8 a.m.
I will say, as much as I want people to be treated fairly and just like want like a great workspace, it's no shade to like the workers, like the bartenders, the barbacks, the staff, like dope, great people, great individuals. And it just sucks that they got pulled into this, this whole shit. I'm glad I quit. Oh God, I'm glad I quit.
But I just,
It sounds
I
like
feel
you
like,
really dodged a bullet.
people are like leaving, or like shows were supposed to happen or something didn't happen, and then
Ray Latre was
and then
supposed to
they're
be here.
like, okay, but now we're at Composer's Room. Like,
Yeah,
good for you, Damien. Make that money.
because who's staying somewhere and not getting paid? I'll tell you who's not. Me and a lot of others. We're not doing it. For what?
Did you ever
So
have a paycheck go missing or like?
No, but for the first 3 weeks that I was there, tips. You work at a bar.
Yeah.
When did tips go out? Cash tips.
at the end of the night.
Not a queen.
Ooh.
Maybe every Wednesday.
Okay, I want to tell you this story. I worked at Pampas
And
for
that
3 weeks.
Makes sense with the stealing of the tips.
I worked at Pampas for 3 weeks, and now I have 2 Pampas employees that work with me at Vic's.
Yeah.
At the end of every night, so Pampas told us we weren't allowed to accept cash tips. We weren't allowed to have a tip jar. Who the fuck, as a bartender?
Ooh, what?
So we weren't allowed to have a tip jar. Then they told us just to keep all the cash tips that go out, put them in the cash register, and the managers will put it on your paycheck. So this is what we did.
That's how they steal.
We hid a tiny little cup. Some of the bartenders, sometimes we would hide a tiny, because I was like, that shit ain't gonna fly.
Yeah.
Not with me. So I in a tiny little cup, I was like, okay, like, we'll just, but we had to like literally go into the dry storage where there wasn't a camera and split the cash tips. And they also gave away like the house. Like there were all these vouchers and shit. So people, like, we had to, so many things that we had to do. But they told us like, hey, like, no, all the cash tips, you turn those in, put them in your drawer. And I was like, but our drawer's going to be over. They're like, we don't care.
Yeah, it was always something shady with the tips. Like, it was either...
And they never showed up on our checks.
Ever.
And I'm
if
like,
you ask, you're an asshole. Like,
so yeah. And we're absolutely, dude, I got fired. I literally I didn't get fired. I quit, but they wrote me up for having the flu.
yeah, wild.
Like, I literally was like
Wild.
deathly ill, throwing up in the bathroom, deathly ill with the flu. And they were like, Jessica, you're not doing as well this week. And I'm like, I told you guys, I'm dying. Anyway, so we knew. So I was like, there's no way. And they're absolutely stealing money. They have to be. If anybody that tells you, like, okay, so like they
if
changed.
it's anything other than, we'll tip out at the end of the night, you're stealing from me.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Immediately.
So here's the thing is right now at Jimmy Kimmel's, they changed the rules. Cash tips do get split at the end of the night.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Credit cards go on your paycheck.
Okay.
Credit
cards went on our paycheck.
That's fine. Whatever. That was my rule at Alexis Park. Fine. Whatever. Cool. But I only worked at Pampas for 3 weeks and it wasn't even, it was maybe 2.5. And I was like, I'm not doing this.
Well, and I think that's interesting. Like, it's interesting to see how, like, oh, that sounds like that's the way to steal from employees, is to steal from the tips and the cash out.
Yeah, of course.
So
Easily.
So what made you allegedly reach out to Perez?
I just saw the stuff and I was like, oh, well, I mean, I was actually woke up and
Perez.
the week before everything, that post, I had been like texting Leilani, texting Diego, texting Eduardo, like, hey, like, I'm hearing W-2s went out, like I haven't got anything, whatever. Like I'm reaching out. Eduardo didn't reply until I told him that I would, and you can quote me, that I know his schedule and I have no problems burning his place to the ground if I don't get my things. Then I got a reply and I got my W-2s in the mail the next day.
Oh,
After the whole rant on
expedite.
Instagram and all that, I got an email copy. I got one in the mail. Because like, but then again, but why do I have to come off as angry or a villain to get my shit?
Why?
No, you're entitled to that.
Yeah.
An
You
email is
absolutely-
all you needed.
That's it. They may try 2 copies.
They're like, please send it
But
to
you
them.
can like go to the labor board with that.
But why should I have to do
But
that?
why should you shouldn't have to? No,
Why should I have to do all
absolutely
that?
not. No.
Well, so did your W-2s make sense?
He was only there for like
yeah,
a little while.
Yeah, a little while. So yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, because there was once where my husband got a bonus and they decided not to put it on their
No,
W-2s.
my W-2s were. I
They
mean,
made sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you can't fake that. It was like a few months. Like,
yeah, right. I'm like, how much can you fuck up here?
I'm already out. You know?
Did you ever feel like your tips didn't make sense
Absolutely.
every day?
What do you mean?
Well, as a barback, you get 20% of what the bartenders
15.
make.
15.
Now I
And there were
will.
also two barbacks on shift.
So they were tipping out 30%. You had to split with a barback, or no, you were tipping out
There you go.
15%, and you
There
had
you
to.
go. There you go. There you go. There you go.
You had to split like.
Imagine.
Okay,
So
so
if they
wait,
made
hold on.
And I was working Monday, Tuesday,
So
Thursday.
so if you make $400, the barback gets $80. That's
Okay.
20%. So 15%,
Yeah,
and then
no,
split
yeah.
for all the heavy lifting and work that
So-
you
Ice
have to
run.
do.
Cutting, like,
You're
like
going home with $20,
maybe, yeah.
and that's maybe on your
you're
paycheck.
telling me, you're telling me you're stealing?
Oh, is that what they?
Like, in what work? Like, you're a bartender.
Yeah.
Does that math? That math?
That math isn't mathing.
And listen, you're stealing $20 from each employee. There's 10 employees,
Imagine. Listen, legal fees have to get paid.
especially right now, because it sounds like he's got a lot of them.
Okay. Well,
Well, listen, I don't
allegedly.
Allegedly.
So now, is there allegedly a reason why Perez is upset about this?
Perez is close to the ground on this because he allegedly he was set to host or co-host either the grand opening or the AVN. I think it was grand opening. The grand opening, and because of the rain or scheduling conflicts or maybe even lack of money from Eduardo,
I bet that makes more sense.
the lack
That
of
probably
money,
makes
yeah.
more sense. Yeah.
So, dude, like this, Perez was because it was a big thing. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's flyers somewhere, but there was like Perez was set to co-host the red carpet for the grand opening. with someone else,
There's
like-
no way he would have done that if he knew. Like he would.
For free, Perez ain't
Perez ain't doing
Perez
shit.
ain't doing shit for the free. It's not happening. It is not happening.
And I don't blame him
And
either.
I don't blame him. Like he's like, I mean, he's made a name. Like, why would he get out of bed for free?
I mean, that's why, like, when I met him at Vic's, I was like, Perez, because, like, and I told him this, and he actually duetted my video, because I was like, Perez, what are you doing here? But, like, it's because I've been following Perez for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I've been on this, like, love-hate relationship with him for 20 years, so I felt like I knew
So
him,
because
but,
Perez has that traction and that background in those numbers.
so
those
you
followers,
absolutely need to
He's
pay
like,
the
hey.
man.
I am gonna latch onto you. Why don't you host my red carpet event? And Perez probably got to talking numbers. It was like, listen, girly, I've been around for a minute. I got the followers.
I single-handedly destroyed Britney Spears'
Like,
career.
What do you need from me? Like, I would
Sorry,
like to talk.
Perez. I know you apologize for that, but
I would like to talk money. Like, where are my checks? Like,
Yeah. I wonder
the
if
money
he was
probably
supposed to,
I wonder if he was paid and his checks bounced.
or if he wasn't paid that first deposit like you're supposed to.
Ooh. Okay, so I had when I was opening
So
a
what if-
ghost tour, I
hold on.
had to like give a deposit. Oh, and that was a whole other thing. And
so
I
for
already
whatever
talked about
reason,
that.
the grand opening didn't happen the way it was supposed to happen. There was no red carpet
Oh.
due to rain, whatever.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah.
somebody else hosted who was like he got for free, I'm sure. And like the whole allure was like, oof, like bitch, Perez Hilton's gonna be here. Like we're getting like Perez, Andrew Christian's gonna be here. All these people are gonna be here. Like, oh, like glam.
Perez was not there.
But the girls weren't cutting checks, so why would he be there? Like, please, like, so yeah, like
Did
that's.
they
where
think
all
he
this-
was they're gonna hang out? Like, even though you didn't
No.
pay me, I'm gonna still stop by
No.
probably.
because I
She's
wouldn't.
delusional, girl.
Like
Probably.
I wouldn't.
Besties, like, girl, what? Like, you didn't know.
That's really
yeah.
crazy.
Or you were set to host like a red carpet or like the grand opening event, and like either the money. I'm assuming the money wasn't right on Perez's end. Like, hey, like I need this, and Eduardo's like, well, come to your table and you can drink for free, like or some crackhead shit like that. And Perez's like, absolutely not. Like, no.
He doesn't really drink though.
Who?
Perez.
Yeah, it's like whatever the deal was.
Like at my bar, he asked for coffee or an espresso. Actually, I think he had an espresso. So like he didn't even drink.
So yeah,
like sat at the bar and he's like, "Can I get an espresso?" I was like,
so whatever he was probably offering Perez, he was like, this isn't for me. Absolutely not. And then like, yeah, that was it. But like, how do you as a business owner come to somebody like, oh, like host this and not even have any type of inkling of what they'll want for like
Taylor Swift? I can't pay you, but if you could just come like guest on the show, or could you come to like anything at Vic's? That's like when God, that's when they wanted me to like they were like, can you get Taylor Swift? Like, how do we get Taylor Swift into Vic's? I'm like, you pay her.
For me,
you pay her
more money than God.
Yeah, and we don't have
She'll
that.
be there for about 2 minutes. Yeah.
I will say it's interesting.
I'll make her an old fashioned
bridge. Not even a song.
What a shame she's fucked in the head. That's all I get. That's it. She would have made such a lovely bride. What a shame she's fucked in the head. See you guys later, and I'll drink my old fashioned like
on
the way out. See you later.
On the way home.
That'll cost you about $20 million.
That's it. Yeah.
So now that you are out, I'm assuming the weight lifted off your shoulders immediately.
Absolutely.
What is in store next for you?
I've gone back to filming full time, and honestly, like I'm on schedule. I'm fantastic. I fly to.
I feel like you
Atlanta
make more
next
money.
week. Great.
That's my hometown.
Yeah, I'm great.
One of my best friends, my childhood friends, lives in the Stacks, which is in the middle of downtown Atlanta, across from the Oakland Cemetery.
Okay.
It is
grew up in Roswell.
Yo, I was a ghost tour. I was a tour guide for the Roswell Ghost Tour, and I worked at
Roswell High.
Dude, that Taco Mac that's right there. I worked there.
Yeah, I worked in the Kroger across.
Oh my!
What advice do you have for Colonel?
Get out! Get out of there! Run! Get your money and leave.
Important part: get your money.
Get your money and go. Like I don't know. Like
steal tips. Go.
I would never
don't do that. Allegedly,
as a creative, or like anybody that like needs to work, like has to like stick it out. But like just be smart and make sure you're covered. That's it.
Okay.
Girls gotta eat. I get that.
So what are your thoughts?
Yeah,
okay, but what are your thoughts? Okay, so Free Zone's closing. Free Zone. I think
Free Zone's closing, and they're turning into a country.
They're turning into a country bar in the middle of the Fruit Loop, but that's fine. Whatever.
Free Zone once.
I've never been, but I feel like so you have Free Zone, and then you also have the double is also over there.
The Double Down.
Didn't Piranha open back up?
Oh, Piranha opened up, and Piranha also reopened Gypsy across the street, which I think is just like gauche, but like my kind of gauche. Like we have one and we have two. Like I love it. It's like
they were on Bar Rescue.
Y'all could have put like that Gypsy,
but that doesn't mean anything because Paradise Cantina was on Bar Rescue and John Taffer.
Like, you could have moved that to another. You could have brought up another gay area in Vegas, but you decided to run across. Like I love that's my that's my level of petty. It's like y'all are coming here. Y'all get over it. Like
anyway, someone in the comments did say that they were like, "Why do you have two bars right across the street from each other?
Why not?
Why not have? But that's Starbucks does the same shit. Who cares?
You can split your employees. Why not? It's easy.
That's true.
It's easy.
And then they don't have to drive to different locations.
It also like
if I run out of vodka in my bar, they got it. Like easy.
Just run across the street, but also like it breaks up that like mundaneness because I'm actually kind of glad. Like I hate that I have two jobs, but I need to have two jobs. But at the same time, like I work at one spot 3 days a week, and I work I work in another spot 2 days a week. So it gives me a break, so I'm not burned out from one spot.
Well, listen, is there anything you want to add?
No.
Social medias.
No. I'm not gonna plug my socials. I'm just here to spread awareness, and that's it. Get out. If you're get your last paychecks and hit it.
If this is your calling,
like,
get out.
No, like there's just so many people who want you and will appreciate you.
Listen, there are enough events going on in the next 6 months.
Get your job at security. They pay well.
Dude, security, festivals, festivals. Dude, festivals. You can work 3 days and make your rent for the month.
It's only other
that's fine. Just but
and the hours aren't great either.
No.
Also, if I don't say anything else, I do want to say, go to brunch at the Garden.
God, I still want to do that. I'm just never. I work
work
Sunday.
weekends.
I work weekends.
Well, we'll have to try to
We should
catch
go.
it.
We should go.
We'll
should
plan
try
out.
to go to brunch.
I could just
At the
give
garden.
me a few weeks in advance and I'll. Well, just give me.
Yeah.
Well, because they
Shit,
fucking
we're
owe
really
you.
going to the fucking garden for
But
breakfast.
give me a few weeks. Give me because my schedule is made. My schedule is made for both places 2 weeks in advance. So I would actually need like a 3-week heads up.
But yeah, that way you
Thank
can see
you.
the vibe and like see
Yes.
like you know what I mean. Like
I'm gonna get drunk on mimosas,
Well-
but thank you so much.
Yeah,
thank you so much. She's taking me out.
no.
She's had it. Thank you so much.
We're so happy that you're here. We're so happy we got all the tea.
Of course,
we got all the tea.
Thank you for like coming in. Like you're our first guest on our reality check 2.0. So thank you so much.
Of course.
Yes, and yeah, we're just so excited. Thank you guys for watching our exclusive. This is crazy. We're very privileged, and thank you so much.
Thank you guys
Thank you so much, August, for coming on. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.